Paita ṣe gun òkè ní ẹ mo ní àpẹ thank God o Mr. Paita lọ́ọ̀yà tó lọ́ọ̀yà o wọ́n á tiẹ̀ bá wọ́n á put band-aid sí ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ pé àwọn á tiẹ̀ ṣe nice sí SAN Shittu bí Mr. Paita kúkú ṣe fọ́ gbogbo table chair in fact wọn kó sílẹ̀ o wọ́n lọ kó sínú nọ́ọ̀nì unrepairable bá mo á ṣe fẹ́ jẹun báyìí sìn kàrọ̀mọ̀ bá la ṣe fẹ́ jẹun tán la ṣe fẹ́ jẹun ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ti pọ̀ jù Mr. Paita wá tún wá sọ títí wá ní ẹ fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ tó pọ̀ jù tẹ́ bá tún wá fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ńkọ́ lè tẹ́ sọ ìpẹ́rípẹ́rí of the perifasu lẹ́ fi ṣe yìí ẹ fọ́ gbogbo in fact you are the demolition man no baby soft to your right o wọ́n wó gbogbo ẹ̀ wọ́n wọ́wọ́ túrú in fact ṣe mo ń bèrè lọ́yà Kabir are you a Virgo because àwa Virgo la mọ bó ṣe ń lọ àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ president you have to be a Virgo ìfà ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn pọ̀
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o máa mi.
wọ́n ní ọ̀rọ̀ Virgo ló máa ń le tó ìyẹn tẹ́ pé lọ́yà Kabir díẹ̀ náà tún sọ ìmájú kan wà face to face bí ló ṣe ń bí màá yẹn ó lè fún jòsí lẹ́sẹ̀ lójú àwọn wa ṣe nǹkan ìwé lamentation la wà báyìí a wà ní ecclesiastes àbí ọ̀nà ṣe ń pè ecclesiastes ìwé òwe not ìwé òwe ìwé aláròyé ìwé ẹlẹ́jọ́ ló bá àwọn tí mo jò sí wọ́n á ní dùnnú láàárọ̀ báyìí kó tó pé 2 minutes ìbànújẹ́ dẹ̀dẹ̀ bá wọn lórí another ṣẹ́ tí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń pe fìyàtì mo ní ẹ ṣọ́ pé kì í ṣe pé SAN Shittu dọ́gbọ́n sọ fáwọn tiẹ̀ pé kán ra mọ́tò fóun bí wọ́n fẹ́ ra mọ́tò wọ́n wá mọ́tò mọ́mí ẹ̀ kébìjọ́ ẹ̀ kárọ̀mà ẹ̀sọ́lúwà tó sọ ẹ̀ kárọ̀sà óyá wọ́n wá kan ra mọ́tò Fiat ẹ mọ̀ pé mọ́tò kan wà ní England Fiat ṣé kékeré lẹ fẹ́ ni àbí ní ńlá ẹ fẹ́ dèwù SAN Shittu ẹ fẹ́ dèwù because ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ó kọjá be careful o gbogbo nǹkan tí Mr. Paita sọ nípa yìnyín bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe rí ṣe ní terminal disease ní ẹ wá wò pé ẹ fẹ́ kúrò lọ́dẹ̀ kẹ́kú wá yàgbẹ́ sí ọ̀dẹ̀ ẹ fẹ́ kúrò ńlẹ̀ ẹ wá ní pé kíkẹ́ bá gbogbo àwọn SAN jẹ́ èmi ti gba SAN lọ́wọ́ yín èmi ti gbé fún mọ́mí Dupsy o because mọ́mí Dupsy ti kọ́ṣẹ́ wọn ti gboyè o Lilibet don't call mọ́mí Dupsy baby lawyer again o she's now a full SAN Dupsy SAN Dupsy Benin is Professor Emeritus. Dupsy is SAN Dupsy ẹjọ bá wa power tap o ẹjọ ṣẹyìn èèyàn wa ṣe ń gbádùn gbogbo ìrònú sorrow sadness tó bá àwọn people yìí 1 minute wọ́n ti gba kínní the next minute right their balloon will be deflated it can be predicted bẹ́ẹ̀ ni self-care maybe he wants that Fiat is actually very nice car èyàn máa sọ pé bóyá ó kéré bọ̀ ó wọ́n bóyá yẹn ni SAN Shittu tó ń dọ́gbọ́n béèrè o because nígbà tó bá fẹ́ lọ béèrè Fiat lọ béèrè Fiat béèrè dèwù lọ́dọ̀ AG buy me Fiat bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ọkọ̀dà lọ́ọ̀yà Kuduriski àti ìkànnù there is a new one lọ́dọ̀ Papa Shit tó pẹ̀rẹ̀ ní Àlàkẹ́ náà ló fi ti àwọn erúbúrẹ́ ló ń jẹ́ Àlàkẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àdúrà tá máa fi gbà ní àwọn ọmọ wa tó ṣe lọ́ọ̀yà wọn ò ní ṣẹ̀sìn bí lọ́ọ̀yà SAN Shittu o Àlàkẹ́ náà sọ and the new words in the block now on a serious note the new words in the block is duty of care. It is era by era. We were in the era of Obemakenje. Then we went to the era of Okanlorun. Then we went to the era of Wọ́n fọ́ POP Mọ́lẹ́sẹ̀. Then we went to the era of one Lamorelins. We went to the era of one Agbesunomoto. We went to different era. Now, October 2025, we are in the era of fiat and duty of care. So which duty of care, which one are we doing first? Duty of care or fiat? Because wọ́n fẹ́ mọ èyí tí wọ́n fẹ́ kọ́kọ́ choose nínú méjèèjì. Alake 70, Alake the goat, you are a goat, you are a bloody nuisance. Ṣé the same class ni wà àti Kudi lọ ni? Because tó bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ lọ síwájú ẹ̀yin máa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ sẹ́yìn. BSc in law. Ọmọládélèmí, duty of care. Fiat, pim. Honestly, baby stuff, you know why that fiat keeps coming to my head, yeah? There was a time I was piling too much mileage on my new car. I want the wood racer. I want a small car. And I've been seeing that Fiat. And I like it because it's small. I wanted a small car, on the second-hand small car. Then I went to price the bloody car. They said 8,000 pounds. Then no. I'm like, kilo de kila juni moto konkoloi. Ó lè kéré ní body o, but tó gbé sí engine bóyá yẹn ni lawyer SAN Shittu ń wá. Wọ́n lè tún tọ̀ sẹ́gbẹ́ ògiri ṣó dáa bẹ́ẹ̀. War against indiscipline and corruption. Mr. Oluwatosin, their delusional is out of this world. The fact that they are saying duty of care, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know about this. How they can confuse the duty of care of, like Mr. Pythagoras said, the professional duty of care or the legal or the medical aspect of duty of care, or the parental aspect of legal of duty of care to a minor. And when your child is above 18, they are no more technically under your care. They are adults. If you're 18 and you commit a crime, you will be tried as an adult. So pray tell, how do you think Omowumi has duty of care towards Mohbad? That she must drag him, she must force him, she must do this, she must do that. Mr. Pythagoras have said a lot. He has in those few minutes, he has flawed them. And in the aspect of care, he mentioned, like, even me as a nurse, let's say I'm passing through where an incident has happened and I decided to boju, I am not criminally obliged. I'm not legally obliged. I am just ethically obliged to give hand. And that is why the Good Samaritan law in the country I'm in, because it's not every country that practices the Samaritan law, but in the country I am at the moment, the Samaritan law says will protect me. Not that it must force me. That is the thing. When people are trying to quote the Samaritan law, it's the Good Samaritan law is to protect me. Peradventure, I saved you and you now take me to court, or something happens and you take me to court. The law says that because I have acted in good faith, you cannot do anything to me. And if I refuse to not do nothing for you, as per I'm a healthcare professional, I will just be taken to my board to ask me why. I will not be taken to a normal court. Because when you're saying duty of care, and another thing I want to say to people, because somebody is physically disabled does not mean they do not have capacity. So, if somebody is physically disabled or they have some form of autistic, in UK now you're being taught the Oliver McGrath law. It's saying that because you look at me, I told you I'm autistic, doesn't mean I cannot retain information, doesn't it mean I cannot regurgitate that information, and it doesn't mean I cannot make decisions by myself. It is only duty of care is for maybe when you're when you're my patient, and at any point you have capacity, you now tell me to stop, you do not want my care anymore, I have to stop. I cannot force you. The only time I can force you is when you are under section. If you're not, Oliver Mago, and that's right, Sister Aduke. If you're not under section, I cannot force treatment on you. If you are corpus mentors and you are buying and you say stop, all I will give you after explaining the risk of what you're doing to you and you understand it, I will give you the form that says discharge against medical advice, and you can go on your merry way. If by the time you're getting to the door of the unit you collapse and you cannot make decision for yourself, then I can step in again. Not when, as at that time when you've collapsed, you cannot make decisions anymore, even though you have said you're going home. But at that point, because you're still within my vicinity, I can render help. But in as much you're corpus mentors, it doesn't matter how physically disabled you are. If you say no, no means no. Even kí patient yẹn wà nínú ìgbẹ́ kó ti fi ìgbẹ́ bára, kó wà nínú ẹ̀ kó ní má fi ọwọ́ kàn mí, you cannot force that person to take your care. It's the same way when you have people. I'll use the Jehovah Witness as an example. If let's say they're going for a major surgery, although they are doing research in how to deal with this kind of people in the aspects of medicine, but if a Jehovah Witness is bleeding profusely and you offer them blood transfusion and they refused, you cannot force them. The only people, even if they are now Jehovah Witness, the only people you can force is to take that to court. You must get a court injunction before you can administer, and that will be for children who are less than 18, because the law says if you're less than 18, you cannot make decisions for yourself. So the law is taking over, not the parent now, even though the parent don't want it. But if you meet a consultant that is Ogba, he will go and get a court injunction and he will give that child blood, and there's nothing you will do about it as a parent. So when you Alake the goat keeps going on and on about duty of care, Omowomi should be prosecuted, piss me off. You all are just disrespecting our law. I love law. I love the process of the judiciary. I love everything it stands for. But since coming to justice for Mohbad, you have had different kind of thing. Mr. Paita, Shetiri, Odo, Papa Shit, Oni, Pokyok ti kọ́ṣẹ́, so SAN Shittu wà lọ ń kọ́ṣẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ SAN Shittu wà lọ ń kọ́ṣẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Pokyok. Ẹ mọ̀ pé Pokyok àkàbọ̀ àwé ló kà. Yeah, if I can, okay, in the Merciful Balogun, when we talk about acting on best interest, so for me as a person, my scope of practice is looking after patients that are under ventilation, sedated, paralyzed. So you cannot give consent at that time. You can't give consent there. I'm assuming consent now because you cannot. So you are not capable of giving consent. For whatever reason, we have put you to sleep, you're under mechanical ventilator, you're sedated, you're probably paralyzed, you cannot do anything for yourself. You are under sleep or under medical coma. So when I'm writing my report or evaluation at the end of the day, after I've said everything I've done, I've told you what the airway is, what the breathing is, what the CVS is, and all those things, then I'm going to put it that I have given all my care in patient's best interest. So everything I have done for that patient, they could have said, I don't want this or I don't want that. But because they cannot give me that at that point in time, I am now taking up their care. I'm making that decision for them. I'm making that decision to comb your hair. I'm making that decision to know that, okay, your blood pressure is dropping and I need a range for your blood pressure depending on whatever condition I am dealing with. Then I'm starting you on blood pressure medication because you cannot eat by mouth, and because we don't want you to go into refeeding syndrome, risk of refeeding. I am putting an NG tube inside your throat, inside your nose, that will go into your stomach to feed you, because you cannot make that decision. I am washing you. I am doing all this to do that. So that's in Merciful Balogun, those is another part. But for critical care, we fill the form, but that patient is generally not under safeguarding. And if you have a patient that has some form of physical disability, because this is something I've experienced, the patient only physical disability, kò lè sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́nu jáde o, kò lè ṣe nǹkan kan fún rẹ̀, kò lè gbápá, kò lè gbẹ́sẹ̀ o. But you have to give her total care. But she is corpus mentis. Ó ní ọpọlọ láti process and to accept some things and refuse some things. She only communicates using the eye gaze. If you've ever worked in the community, or if you've seen this in movie, there is that computer that you see with the patients who have some form of physical issue. They cannot talk, so they use the eye gaze to communicate. So they will say what is in their mind using their eyes to type it, and the computer will speak it out for you. If she says no, even come and swim, in this case. But because it's been expressly said that she has capacity, whatever she says no to, leave it. Don't do it. Don't force her, because she is feeling like, because I cannot enforce láti gba nǹkan tóun ò fẹ́. Ṣé tóun bá ní apá, tóun bá ní ẹsẹ̀, ṣé tóun bá ní rárá, ṣé ẹ máa sọ pé dandan kóun ṣe? So that is another aspect when people talk about duty of care and all those things. When people have capacity, you can't force them. And when they are not a child and they are not mentally challenged, you cannot force things on them. Under law, under health, under Mental Capacity Act, it be assumed that everyone has capacity, except you have tested them to know they don't have capacity. Then you involve people that can deal with that situation. So orí àròyé, so àti mọ̀ pé ní gbogbo ní ìsìn duty of care la máa jẹ. Papa shit, olórí kúkú, orí ẹ kú bí iṣu tó ti pẹ́ nílé. Ó ti dorí àwọn pípú irú tí ó ti wá kó bá SAN Shittu. Wọ́n ti wá sọ SAN Shittu, wọ́n ti sọ di SAN Shittu. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni OG Classic, JFM law òun náà ń lò. In tó ń tẹ̀ ń dùn mí ni pé honestly, in all this, what is breaking my heart is what is breaking my heart is wọn ti dá their own judiciary system sílẹ̀ after ọdún méjì. Wọn dájú kan ti train ní police, kan ti train ní detective, kan ti train ní kíníkan, kẹ́ ti train oríṣiríṣi, kẹ́ wá kẹ́ àwọn síta, kẹ́ lẹ́yìn nìdí ní ó. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bàbá mi Kubi, they are just desperately wicked. Ọlọ́run ẹlẹ́dàá o, these people are desperately wicked. Eléyìí ti kọjá kínní, mo bọ́ síbi kan, mo ń gbọ́ bí tíyà kan ṣọlọ́run one with God tó yẹ kó pèrè ní one with devil. Ibi tó ti ń ké, ó ń ké gidi. Ó ní Westo ó máa tú àṣírí. Olóṣì Arífà onírun méje lórí, mi ìdẹ̀fẹ́ bèbú láàárọ̀ yìí. Arífà bọ̀ irun méje tó wà lórí ẹ̀ lọ́gẹ̀ dàda tó gbé sórí yẹn. Dàda ò kí ń ṣe kí ló ń pè wọ́n, lọ́gẹ̀ irun òṣì tó gbé sórí yẹn. Bóyá yẹn ló ń block your thought process. Lọ́gẹ̀ kó da omi sórí. Tó bá da omi sórí tí atẹ́gùn àlàáfíà ń wọ inú brain ẹ̀. Ìyá yẹn ń ké. Mo wá pé come on, this is the next person tó máa tẹ̀lé disturbing TikTok. Wọ́n ti ẹ̀ pọ̀ tó máa tẹ̀lé disturbing TikTok. Ìyá yẹn ń ké.